There's a striking account of a conversation from May 2019 between Donald Trump's director of national intelligence at the time, Dan Coats, and former Defense Secretary General Jim Mattis. Coats calls Mattis, with, as Woodward describes, a cry from the heart. This is from the book, quote, Coats said the mounting personal tensions between him and Trump and their fundamental differences on the nature of the security threats were debilitating. This is not good, Mattis said. Maybe at some point we're going to have to stand up and speak out. There may be a time when we have to take collective action. Well, possibly, Coats said. Yeah, there may. He's dangerous, Mattis said. He's unfit. It's an assessment Mattis is not alone in having made. This morning, nearly 500 former senior military officers, cabinet secretaries, and other officials signed a letter endorsing Joe Biden for president. The letter reads, quote, the current president has demonstrated he is not equal to the enormous responsibilities of his office. He cannot rise to meet challenges large or small. Thanks to his disdainful attitude and his failures, our allies no longer trust or respect us, and our enemies no longer fear us. Joining us now is the Washington Post assistant managing editor, the author of Rage, Bob Woodward. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. I know it's been a long and news-studded book tour for you.
Thank you. Yes.
Bob, I have to start with the news that Donald Trump made last night, that he wouldn't commit to accepting the results of the election. Is that not the moment that General Mattis and Dan Coats talked about? And do you hear from them any plans to do what they described doing in your book, speaking out?
Well, I mean, they're speaking out. I'm quoting them accurately. No one has disputed anything in the book, including President Trump. In fact, last week Trump said, I said some great things in the book. If I may, Nicole, I think we're getting off on the wrong track sometimes when we talk about, Trump is breaking norms. This is not normal. Trump was elected in 2016 to not just break norms, but to smash them. It's as if you're going along the road driving and it's a 60-mile-an-hour speed limit and somebody goes 80, and that's not normal. That's breaking norms. Look, let's face it, Trump is going 150 miles an hour. And what is happening here on all fronts, dealing with the virus, dealing with the economy, dealing with race relations. It's not that he's breaking norms. My view, my conclusion is, and I asked President Trump about this once. I said, what's the job of the president? And he said, the job of the president is to protect the people. And protecting the people includes protecting our democracy, our democratic institutions, the core of voting. The second responsibility I think that the president has is to tell the truth and to do it as unambiguously as he can. He has not told the truth about things, and he's got some crazy idea, which he told me about in March, where he said, I play down the virus because I don't want to create a panic. Well, one of the things we find in history, I've written about 9 presidents, tried to study history some, is that when presidents come out and tell the truth to the country, Americans rally around and solve the problem. So we've got not just breaking norms, we have a president who has forsaken his basic duty to protect the country, tell the truth, and organize and plan, have some theory of the case. What is he going to do as president? And time again, we know, and I've got endless examples of this, of him making decisions on impulse, tweeting, driving people crazy who work for him, and then they leave or he fires them by tweet, and he says the cruelest things. I mean, the idea that somebody you've brought from retirement, like Mattis and Tillerson, Director of National Intelligence, Dan Coates, and then treat them that way is not just shocking. I think the president, in all of the things he is doing here, is forsaken a larger duty, which is a moral duty, to do what's best for the country, and that this is a moral failure and a leadership failure. And this idea about the election, he's predicting and almost wishing for a quadruple train wreck on November 3rd.
I could not agree with you more that all of the hand-wringing about the obliteration of norms is misplaced. But this statement yesterday is about obliterating the Constitution. And I guess if I could just follow up narrowly on that question. I mean, Rod Rosenstein was reported to have whipped votes for the 25th Amendment. You've got Mattis, and you're right, no one has challenged what Mattis and Coates have said. And I've actually, since your book came out, heard that is absolutely how they felt for a very long time. But I wonder if it escalates things when it's not just the obliteration of norms, but challenging the Constitution by saying he would not accept the results of an election that might bring some of these people out in a more public confrontation with Donald Trump.
Yes, I mean, it's not just challenging the Constitution, it is putting a dagger in the Constitution. And for the President of the United States to do that is I don't know whether there's language to describe this. And what's happened is that Trump has been like this from the beginning, before he was elected president, just saying outrageous things, doing outrageous things. And he's made the country and the world numb about, oh, well, that's the way it is. Oh, 1,000 people died today because of the virus. Well, it isn't 2,000 like it was before, so things are getting better. Things are getting worse, and I don't know where the wake-up call comes to the country. And this isn't about Trump voters or Biden voters. It's, this idea that some of our colleagues, Nicole, scorn Trump voters, and they say, oh, you aren't a decent person if you believe in Trump. That's just not the case. I know Trump voters who are financial planners, who are business people, who are military people, who are law enforcement officers, who are workers.